This is Goku-san DBZ, and welcome back for a new top 5 list. This time around, I'm going to be counting down my personal opinion 5 of the greatest Sony PlayStation exclusives ever, and this will be across all Sony platforms. First, have 3 honorable mentions before we get to, and these are my personal picks I feel and are considered pretty good quality overall by critics and fans alike. First of 3 honorable mentions from the original PlayStation, The Legend of Dragoon, which is easily one of the best JRPGs in my personal opinion ever. Let alone being incredible given it was made by Sony themselves. It definitely had a lot of feeling of like Final Fantasy games, but at the same time had its own traits and feels versus the Final Fantasy style. Next, honorable mention from PlayStation 2, Dark Cloud 2, which is easily one of the probably best RPGs on the PlayStation 2. Definitely an underrated game. More people have played Dark Cloud 1 over Dark Cloud 2. Now, I like Dark Cloud 2 because they used more of a shade, obviously, like cell shade or whatever you want to say, the more anime art style versus the first game, which had more of a overall normal 3D, but at the same time carried kind of a more of a Akira Toriyama art style in the first game versus this game, though you can still see Akira Toriyama influence in obviously like the facial designs and everything. But this game, I personally preferred the first game a little bit, but from an art perspective and everything, I actually prefer this game, at least from the area of the animation art style. And I will say though, the first one, the soundtrack is better personally, but this game is still just as good. And it's easily one of the best, easily, RPGs to come out exclusive to the original PlayStation. Or, well, not original PlayStation, but PS2, but you get my drift. And Sony has always had a good amount of awesome, excellent fighting games. And the PS4 generation is no different. In fact, has a slew of amazing fighting games. Now, with that said, and of course, I picked a honorable mentions, King of Fighters 14, which personally I think is probably one of the better King of Fighter games. Personally, I like that. At least they decided to go all the way in with the art style. I will say I have a few issues with. I feel some of the controls are kind of clunky in the game versus other 2.5D games such as like Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5. But still, it's easily one of the best games in the King of Fighters franchise, and it's also one of the best, at least if you want an exclusive fighting game on the PS4, this is definitely probably one of your best games out there of exclusives. Coming at number 5, this game was exclusive to the PlayStation 3. And it's what started what we know as the Soulsborne era in games today. And it's all thanks to this game, which, yes, was actually a Sony exclusive. That being Demon's Souls. Why they didn't just call it Demon's Souls and had to add the S, Demon's Souls, I don't know. I think it just sounds better the other way, but whatever. This is, in my opinion, number 5, because this game would launch now easily one of the most influential difficulty-wise franchises of all time, the Dark Souls series of 3 Dark Soul games. Of course, this gave birth to it, and then of course you would also have later on other companies, like for instance, Bloodborne was done with Sony, and Dark Souls was done with Namco Bandai, but the first game was actually done with Atlus. Fun fact. It was FromSoft with Atlus, and some influence obviously from Sony, since it's a Sony exclusive just like Bloodborne is. But the controls and everything are a little clunky in this game, but it was the first game, to be fair, in the franchise. but it would come to create what we call Soulsborne, which is now arguably today the most well-known, more difficult game franchise and difficulty levels. Coming in at number 4 is personally my favorite JRPG of all time. Coming in number 4 is Final Fantasy VIII. You may want to say, well, wait, it's not exclusive because isn't it coming to, for some stupid reason, coming to like the Switch? From things I've heard, most likely, I have yet to actually hear definitely 8, though it is most likely coming to Switch, but it's going to be, from what I understand, digital only, not physical. Physically speaking, this is the all exclusively Sony only. Plus, when it came out originally, it was Sony exclusive. Keep in mind. Also, this game never got a port for, like, portable for, like, phones and stuff, unlike 7 and 9. It got skipped. But by far, it is, in my opinion, the best Final Fantasy game that is still a Sony exclusive, at least when it was originally released. But in my opinion, therefore, it still is considered a Sony exclusive, but that's just my own personal opinion, so whatever. Coming in at number 3 is arguably one of the best survival horror games and is a Sony exclusive. And that is released exclusively to the PlayStation 2, and ended up getting also a portable port to the PSP, Silent Hill Origins, which is easily, in my opinion, for me personally, is maybe my 3rd favorite Silent Hill game of the whole franchise. But that's just me personally. But yeah, I love Silent Hill Origins, and it's easily in my top 10 favorite survival horror games of all time. And if you've never played any of the older school Silent Hill games, to me, the PS2 era is the best era in Silent Hill. You have Silent Hill 2, 3, 4 The Room, and Silent Hill Origins. All really good survival horror games. All really good Silent Hill games. To me, PlayStation 3 is when, and onwards is when the franchise really lost itself, unfortunately. And unfortunately, we will never get to experience Silent Hills, which sucks. So gee, thanks a lot, Konami, for that, you bunch of jackasses. With that said, here's number 2. This was released this year, actually, exclusively to the PS4. And of course, the new God of War game. I still have yet to play any of the old God of War games, though thanks to that freebie, like about a month or 2 back, God of War 3 Remastered, eventually I will finally play what a lot of people consider to be the best older God of War game. But to me, God of War, this whole like reboot into more of a third-person viewpoint, like action, role-playing, open-world RPG, well, sort of open world, but it simulates open world, but it's phenomenal. This game, I mean, in the end, I would rank of 1 to 10 stars, or whatever you want to say. I mean, I give the new God of War game here a 10 out of 10, a perfect score. And it is seriously a lot of fun, and I will say, it was definitely a heck of a time fighting against the Valkyrie. That is one of my favorite things about the game, is having a bunch of extra hard side bosses basically after the normal game. It's too bad they haven't done any DLC packs or anything, which kind of sucks, but I just hope whenever in the future they make a sequel to this, I hope it's as good as this game, at least as good, because it's got a lot to live up to after the amazing game and amazing storytelling of this game, hands down. Now, enough gushing about that. Number 1, in my opinion, maybe the best platformer slash RPG ever on handheld, and that is Gravity Rush, which I've praised this game enough on other lists. Not only is it my favorite PlayStation Vita game, period, it is also, in my opinion, easily in their Sony's best exclusives of all time, which of course you can get the remaster on the PS4, which I do have digitally. And if you ever get a chance to catch on a sale or something, pick up Gravity Rush Remastered. Or pick this up for the Vita if you're thinking about buying a Vita or you have one. This is a game that makes it worth owning, just by itself. But with that said, these are, in my opinion, 5 of the best Sony exclusive games of all time. So tell me, which are personally some of your favorite Sony exclusives, and of which Sony console do you think has the best Sony exclusives of the 6 different Sony platforms there are? But I'll see y'all next time. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel.